In this video I tell you about my favorite brands of art journals.
Boom.
Hi, I'm Marieke Blokland from Studio Bloknote. Welcome to this video about sketchbook brands slash art journal brands slash drawing paper brands. brands. It's not really about brands necessarily. It is because I often get the question, what is my favorite sketchbook or journal for art journaling? And I get that question so much that I thought I'm going to do myself a favor. I'm going to create this video so that I can put a link whenever someone asks that, because it's by far the question I get asked the most. What is my favorite art journal brand? And I often tell people that I do not really have one favorite. As you can see, I have this big pile on my desk. I have many favorite journal brands, and when it comes to brands, I am not that loyal. I am a loyal person, by the way. I'm really loyal, but not to brands. Or maybe I am loyal to brands, just not, I'm not monogamous to brands. I'm polyamorous when it comes to art journals. I love them all. I want them all in my life. I'm going over some of my favorite books one by one, tell you what I like about them and what you maybe can look for when you are picking an art journal. I noticed that I get this question especially from people who want to start art journaling or are already working in an art journal and notice that the paper inside the journals does not do what they think it should do, and they are a bit disappointed with the result. And if there is one tip I can start giving you, is to invest in a good journal or in good quality paper and bind your own journal. I think that the journal is probably the most important thing, and then other art supplies can always come later. You can always invest in higher quality paints or pencils later, but the surface is really, you will do yourself such a favor if that is really good. But with really good, I don't necessarily mean expensive. Let's start with this one. It has my own old branding on it, so it's not available, but not available with this branding. But it's simply because it's from Seawhite of Brighton, and at Seawhite of Brighton you can, if you have a business or small business, you can put your own branding on the cover in foil. And so I gave them this logo, and for a couple of months I've sold this journal online. I don't do that anymore, by the way, but I still really love this brand. I didn't choose it for nothing, because their books are just sturdy. They have nice quality drawing paper inside. It's thin, it's 140 grams drawing paper. It's not the best journal out there, but it was one of the best back then, at least, when I started choosing for this brand. It was one of the best when you compare pricing and quality. It just has great value. There's just a lot of papers, and yeah, I really love this brand, and it's really nice when you are beginning because it's not too expensive, because some of these journals that I have are crazy expensive nowadays. I don't know what they cost in other countries or in the US, because I've paid my price in euros. But some of my journals here costed me 30, 40 and some even 50 euros, which is crazy. But to me, because it's my work, my life, my everything, I am willing to invest that much in a journal. But I completely understand that that's way too expensive for you. And it might also hold you back, because you have the feeling you have to make really pretty things in that kind of expensive journal. So I rather have people buy a little cheaper journals than those expensive ones, because especially when you're still finding your voice, and it's important that you can just create a lot of mess and just be really productive rather than high quality. When it comes to art, it's a good thing to be productive and make a lot rather than making a few pretty things. It's a bit, we always learn that quality over quantity, but when it comes to developing your voice and style, it's really productivity, the quantity over quality. It's a bit of a contradiction maybe, but yeah, so Seawhite of Brighton is something to look for, but it's not available everywhere. It's a brand from the UK, and not all stores carry Seawhite of Brighton. And I have a little book here that has no brand. It's from Gerstecker. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's German. In Dutch, I would say Gerstacker. Gerstacker. For my fellow Brabanders out there. It has no brand, but it was a watercolor journal, and it has a little bit thicker paper. And I think that if you are able to find a book that is calling itself Watercolor Journal, then you have something to work on that's almost always just nice for mixed media art journaling, because often you can work on it with watery things like inks, watercolors, wet acrylic techniques, and it can hold a lot. And often it's also really suitable for colored pencils and crayons and those kind of things, or water-soluble crayons, for example. So watercolor journals are really nice. Yeah, the paper is often a little bit thicker than the drawing paper, and you don't have to have a super good quality watercolor paper, because you're not going to watercolor as a watercolor artist would do. So you don't have to have the perfect watercolor paper. For you're probably going to add a lot of acrylics and layerings and mixed media techniques anyway, as a lot of us art journalers do. So watercolor journals without any brand, just Google watercolor books, or if you are at your local art supply store, look out for watercolor journals. I have a book here from, I can't read the brand anymore. I forgot. That's how loyal I am. Imagine that you would be my polyamorous lover and I forgot your name. Because you're just one of the 10 lovers I have. Oh, I love you so much. You, what's your name again? Sorry, I'm having, I'm laughing about this. It's a really nice brand. It's, It's again, it doesn't really matter actually what brand this is. I think that people who know this brand now think, Marieke, it is. But the nice thing about this paper is also that it was a watercolor book, and I prefer these days the more larger A4-ish sizes over the smaller ones. I've worked a lot in the small square journals, but I noticed that even though for a long time I worked in small square journals, I did that for years, I needed more space, literally. I needed more space to work on. So today I often work in the A5 or even A4 sizes. So next is the SM.LT journal. That is really one of my favorite, but it's also pretty expensive. I bought it for over 30 euros, but I thought it was worth it because it is really thick. It has a lot of pages to play on, and the paper is nice and thick. It's an A5 journal. It's called Watercolor Journal by SM.LT. It's a brand from Latvia, so it's also a European brand. They have beautiful papers, beautiful paper pads, and for some reason this journal, the Watercolor Journal, only comes in this size. I don't know why, because they have so many beautiful pads, and I love their paper, but as I'm an art journaler, I'm always on the look for journals, but they only have this one. So it's crazy because it's a great brand, but if you want to use it, it's only coming in this size. So yeah, A5. But it's I have one that is already full. I have a second one here that is getting fuller and fuller, and I'm thinking of ordering a third one even because I love it so much. So if you have a bigger budget and you like this size, and you are able to get it, I think it's available online at many stores. If you Google the SMLT Watercolor Journal, you'll probably find this grey book, and it's an amazing journal to work in. I'm sure you're gonna love it. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it's the back is not so sturdy here. I have another one and I had to glue it with tape in the back because I opened and closed it so many times. But that's the only remark I have on this journal, because for the rest it's the paper is amazing, the amount of pages is fabulous. It's just a really high quality, nice book to work in. Then I have a couple of empty ones here. Oh, this one is, I got it from, oh my, me and names. It doesn't come to me. Artisha. I got it for free. They sent it to me to try it and make a review about it, and it's amazing. It's an amazing book, but for some reason they discontinued this one. I don't know why. It's a fabulous journal. It's also, I think it was called Watercolor Journal or Mixed Media Journal. They still have many journals, and I think that everything from them that is called Mixed Media Journal, Watercolor Journal, something like that, will be good. Because they really stand for high quality for a good price. And yeah, if they still have journals, I'm not sure. I don't really watch their site that often, as I already have so many other brands I work with, but it's a good quality journal. But then here I have this pile of all Hahnemühle. It's 3 journals by Hahnemühle. Watercolor journals, all 3 crazy expensive. I'm afraid to tell you how much they cost. So expensive. I think this one was 30 euro. This one as well. This one was over 50 euro. And that is because of the paper. Or was it this one that was over 50? No, that one. It's because of the paper. Hahnemühle is a brand that has amazing paper. That's just their thing. Paper is their thing. And I have not used their books for quite a while because they always had, that was something that they carried a long time. They had these landscape journals because they really were a traditional brand that had always these traditional sizes. But I don't know what happened. They woke up, I guess, and nowadays they carry a lot of different sizes, different papers, and they also have the vertical portrait books these days, and I prefer that over landscape. I've always preferred this over this for some reason. But they're amazing. I have not worked in them yet, as I promised myself that I must first fill other journals before I start working in these. And I have these 3 waiting for me, and it's like, you must wait, we wait till we are ready for it. Yeah, these are so nice. But don't, because that is really the thing about journals. You can make yourself crazy over the amount of pretty journals that is available. So these are just a couple of my favorite brands. And there are many more, because you have Strathmore, you have Canson, and I haven't even talked about those yet. Oh, I have one here that is by Pitt. That is a sketchbook that I really like. It has smooth paper. So what I got this in London a couple of weeks ago, by the way. Immediately started working in it from the back. It's funny, I often do that when I'm not sure yet what direction my new journal is going. So I start working in the back. So I work myself from the end to the beginning. Makes it easier for me to think what I want this journal to go to see where it's ending or something. I think it's you have a journey, like you want to go to London, but you don't know yet how you get there, so you just start planning from the end into the beginning, something like that. Anyway, I was there in London. I went to Cass, which is a very pretty chain store in art supplies, and they have a lot of pretty brands. But as I enter the store, I just start looking at all the different brands, and I literally just feel the paper. I feel if it's nice and sturdy, and what you want is that it feels right to you. And everything that's a bit thicker from an art store is good. If it's in an art supply store, it's probably good, because they don't want to sell rubbish to artists. Really, I promise you, there are no art stores that sell rubbish. They sometimes have cheaper and more expensive brands, but they don't want their artists to work on rubbish. The only thing is that you have a difference between sketch paper and drawing paper. If it's sketch paper, it can feel a bit grainy. It's often cheaper paper. It's often a bit yellowish. And if it gets wet, it can be really wrinkly. You don't want that. So you want a journal with good quality drawing paper at least. And that can be having a little bit of a grain in it or be really smooth. That doesn't really matter for art journaling. The only thing is what you think is more pretty to see. If you have paper like this that has a sort of grain in it, you will see that in the watercolors or inks that you will add to the page, or when you scratch on it with a pencil, you will get a more grainy effect when there is a certain grain in the paper. While this is a really smooth paper, and you see that in the way that the acrylic behaves here, because there is no grain, it is a really smooth layer. So that's just something to, if you know it, you can make a decision for yourself what it is that you like. Okay, and then last, I wanted to tell you that you can also bind your own journals. I have a beautiful tutorial video about this junk journal. And a junk journal is a journal where you can put all sorts of different papers inside. And papers you found, papers from books, papers that else you would have thrown away, that you just want to keep as a keepsake or whatever. But you can, because that is a book with pages in different sizes. I also have junk journals more like this. This is a book that has a lot of scrapbook paper and more high quality paper in it. But there's a lot more in the same size. But the technique of the binding is still the same. It's a very easy technique. And you can, yeah, it's the same. And that is really good for art journaling. It's a technique I've used more, and I have more of this type of hand-bound journal. So what you can do, if you don't have an art store nearby, or you don't have enough money, or whatever the reason is, or you still have huge piles of different papers, then it's an awesome idea to grab different types of papers, watercolor papers, acrylic papers, thin paper, thick paper. Thick is the Dutch word for thick, by the way. It's funny, but it is true. I don't hate you. But you can bind your own journal like this, for example. Just grab an old book, for example, that you might want it to bring to charity, and take the cover and take your papers and then bind it like this. I'll put a link to the tutorial below if you want it. But that's a really nice idea to start having your own high quality personal journal. And you can make it as thick as you want. My very first art journal, not my first was a ring bound sketchbook, but my second real art journal was a hand bound book, and I made that from, I think, 300 grams mixed media papers years ago. But yeah, don't allow the brands or the fact that I have certain journals that seem to work really well for me hold you back. Because you don't have to be loyal to any brand. I'm not loyal to a brand. I think that I made myself clear. that I'm, well, not loyal, that I'm polyamorous when it comes to journals. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked my video. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And I hope it helped you to make a decision, and also to what you can think of when it comes to choosing your journal. And yeah, let me know in the comment below what journals you like. Maybe you have brands that I didn't mention that you really like, or if you have questions about anything, let me know. Thank you. Ciao.